So, as all good things have to come to an end, 2011 comes, and I guess, how does that? Do you retire, or do they say we don't need you anymore?
I would say it's somewhat mutual.
Yeah.
My career wasn't exactly kind of on the trajectory upward, but I did halfway through the season in 2011. I was now married and went to my wife and I said, hey, I think this is my 6th year, and I said, I think I'm ready. Let's move on after this. And so together we decided that grad school would be the next first step, post football, to kind of serve as a bridge between football and whatever's next. Right. I didn't know at the time. And actually started studying for the GMAT halfway through the year. I'd come home, after practice and study during the evening. And so there was somewhat of a my choice to quote unquote retire.
Yeah.
But again,
you were being smart and planning, thinking it's coming. I may as well plan. Let's figure this out.
Right.
So when you're in the NFL then, and when you got your season coming on, are you doing what other engagements are you getting into outside of football, right? I'm sure people are coming at you like most people do when they see a friend or see someone they know that has money like this. Hey, invest in this, right? And every athlete that's had some success at least has that experience. Are you getting into anything like that? Kind of just little business stuff? What were your interests off the field?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Obviously you get pinged to invest in different things, and then some of them are more active than others. There's obviously real estate, which you kind of just put money away.
Fairly easy to do, yeah.
But then the one opportunity my wife and I jumped on that we were more proactive in was a fitness franchise. It's called Pure Barre. We opened it in 2010. There's several in Oklahoma now. At the time, I think we were the 18th franchise. We brought it to Dallas, where our off-season home was. So in 2010, we opened Pure Barre in Dallas. And my wife kind of handled the day-to-day. I was still playing, so we were back and forth. But for me personally, it kind of gave me that insight or that little glimpse into running a business,
right.
and specifically kind of showed me that the entrepreneurial side of business was something that I kind of was very interested in and enjoyed. So when I went to grad school, we ended up selling the fitness, the studio. But again, that kind of, even though I was still playing, that kind of glimpse of the business world was a good kind of segue or maybe piqued my interest a little bit in what that could look like, long term as a career.
Right. Yeah. And having a franchise, right, it's a good experience because they've set you up, right? They kind of give you the model, and then they say, right, basically this is it's not foolproof, but you have a plan, don't you? It's not like, hey, here's a business, go start it on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a nice, easier way to start. And I'm sure your wife had a huge passion for fitness as well, right? You don't start a business like that without a passion for fitness. And now we have 2 or 3 we have one in Edmond, I think one in Oklahoma City. I'm sure Tulsa probably has one too. But it's probably a nice, especially with it being kind of probably with your wife taking care of you, it was more of a part-time thing for you, kind of, I guess, but it's you being proactive, aren't you? You're learning things, and when you sell it and you go to grad school, you have that life experience of running a business in a huge market.
Yeah, exactly. And going through the process of hiring staff, going through the process of reconciling the books and kind of just, again, it was kind of a glimpse where it wasn't huge stakes. Obviously it was a significant investment for us, but it wasn't huge stakes in terms of scope. And so you could touch all these different aspects of business, whether it be marketing, whether it be strategy, whether it be how do you handle, issues that come up with staff, how do you handle training? Like you said, it's franchising, so you're not just on your own figuring everything out, but as a small business owner, you do get to touch so many different aspects of business that then were helpful for me as I kind of transitioned out of football to figure out what I wanted to do next.
Yeah. So grad school then, why did you choose Northwestern for grad school, right?
Yeah.
Why did you choose Northwestern?
Well, really I didn't know what I wanted to do next, but I knew kind of we had the option. I wanted the optionality to kind of go wherever. Okay. And so Northwestern Kellogs School of Business is one of the top MBA programs in the country. And so I knew, okay, if I can get in there, we go spend 2 years there, then I'll have options, they have brand value, so to speak,
Got you. Yeah.
Across the country.
The internships that are coming out of that, or the opportunities that are coming out of that, are much better as if we were to go to wherever else that's not so recognized.
Yeah.
Or even if you were to come home and go to TU.
Exactly. And so we were living in Dallas, and I just kind of assumed I would check the box of an MBA and go to SMU, and SMU is a great school, so I don't mean to say it's not, but I also just, it was more the easier path to just say, all right, we'll just go get my MBA at SMU, and then we'll go from there. But when I was playing in New England, I actually had a buddy who had come out to Harvard to interview. He was doing an MBA, and he was doing his interviews for Harvard HBS, and he kind of said, because I just kind of assumed, well, all I've done is played football. You know what? Yeah. These programs aren't really going to be interesting to me. That's all I have on my resume. And he kind of is the one that opened my eyes to say, well, you know, with your background, they actually would be interested, and so you should kind of aim higher, so to speak, and seek out these top programs. And then, you know, sure enough, got accepted to Northwestern.
And that competitive side of growing up playing football comes out in you in business, because you're like, when someone says, you know, you have to apply, right?
Yeah.
Like, I got to work for this now, right? And then, you know, like, I don't want to just be the average person in the class. Like, I want to knock it out of the park and be the best one there.
Yeah, no question. And I happen to have a little bit of foresight. You know, when in my last year at New England, I was released by the team in January before our first playoff game, and before leaving Coach Belichick's office, I actually asked him if he'd write me a recommendation for grad school, and he did. And so, you know, I'd like to think that helped me get into Northwestern. But yeah, to your point, I mean, obviously when you're writing essays, when you're taking the GMAT, you know, those all feel competitive, because those are all factors that go into, you know, the assessment of are you good enough to get in. And so as a former athlete, as a competitor, you know, I was all in on doing the best I could.
So go to Northwestern. You move out there as well.
Yep.
So you're out there for 2 years. You do the grad school, and at that point, you know, with the business from Pure Bar experience, are you thinking I'm going to open up my own, or are you like actively looking for other franchises to open, thinking I'm having kids, I'm probably going to move home anyway?
Yeah, I kind of went in without a specific plan. You know, I wrote some essays saying I wanted to go into finance, some that I wanted to go into consulting. But to your point, you know, married at this point, obviously, as I mentioned, and then we welcome our first kid while we're living in Chicago, going to Northwestern. And so, you know, when you have a wife and a kid, the risk spectrum changes somewhat, right? Yeah. Obviously, there's time at home that is important to me. There's you know, finances that are important to me in terms of what you're willing to risk, and so you know, that eliminated some roads just because of life circumstance. And ultimately ended up going into finance, going into wealth management, and working for Goldman Sachs out of their Dallas office. Again, went back to Dallas, but fortunate that you know, the doors, or going to Kellogg, going and getting my MBA, obviously played a role in opening the doors that led me to Goldman Sachs.